Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are exploring a defining, absolutely crucial moment in Indonesia's past. We're talking about a story of impossible choices, staggering sacrifice, and a fire that literally changed the military and cultural landscape of an entire nation. It's a history that reshaped a city from the ground up and forged a doctrine that still stands today. Okay, let's dive into this. If you visit the vibrant, modern city of Bandung today, you might hear it referred to by a rather intense moniker, Kota Lautan Api, which translates to the City of the Sea of Fire. It's an incredibly dramatic name for such a beautiful place. So where does it come from? What kind of cataclysmic event leaves a legacy so profound that it permanently renames a city?
Well, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to trace the history hidden in the modern city, unpack the ultimatum and the scorched earth tactic, meet the heroes behind the fire, see how this transformed the song Halo Halo Bandung, and finally, look at the birth of the total defense doctrine.
Let's start with Section 1, Historical Traces in Bandung, the monuments of the modern city.
History isn't just trapped in textbooks. It's physically woven right into the streets we walk every day. If you travel to Bandung now, you can actually visit tangible reminders of this event. Right on Jalan BKR sits the Bandung Sea of Fire monument. It's this striking, golden, flame-shaped structure towering over a park. And just a short trip away is the West Java People's Struggle Monument, or Monpera, which is shaped like sharpened bamboo spears. Tourists visit these serene spots all the time, snapping photos, but these modern, peaceful monuments actually mark the epicenter of a very dark, incredibly tense period that happened just months after Indonesia declared its independence.
Moving right along to Section 2, the ultimatum and scorched earth tactic, the impossible choice. Let's travel back in time to the escalating post-independence tensions. Picture this. It's late 1945. World War II has just ended, Japan has surrendered, and Indonesia has proudly declared independence. But Allied forces, primarily the British alongside returning Dutch forces, arrived to reassert control. In November 1945, they issue their first ultimatum. Indonesian forces must completely evacuate North Bandung. Tensions are boiling over. Then, on March 23, 1946, a second devastating ultimatum is dropped. The Allies demand that South Bandung be entirely emptied within an 11-kilometer radius. The deadline? Midnight, March 24. The young Indonesian Republic and its civilians were completely backed into a corner.
And this brilliantly illustrates the shocking visual reality of the destruction left behind. Rather than hand over their beloved city intact for the Allies to use as a strategic military headquarters, the Indonesian forces made an unthinkable decision. They decided to burn it to the ground. So what does this all mean strategically? It's called a scorched earth policy, or Taktik Bumi Hangus. The commander of Division 3 of the Republic of Indonesia military, Colonel A.H. Nasution, realized his forces couldn't win a conventional defensive battle against the well-armed Allies. So he ordered the systematic destruction of infrastructure, buildings, and resources. The logic was simple but brutal. If Indonesia couldn't have Bandung, absolutely no one could.
But what makes this truly mind-blowing is the sheer scale. 200,000. Let that sink in. That's the staggering number of civilians who actively participated in this event. These weren't just soldiers following orders. These were everyday people, families, shop owners, teachers, who made the agonizing choice to willingly set fire to their own homes and worldly possessions before fleeing into the mountains. And they did the whole shebang with terrifying speed. In merely 7 hours, the entire southern half of a major metropolitan city was transformed into a raging inferno, a literal sea of fire. To put that into perspective, the logistical and psychological weight of moving 200,000 people while burning a city in under a single night is almost impossible to fathom.
That brings us to Section 3, Heroes Behind the Fire, the Faces of the Resistance.
This massive event wasn't just a disorganized, faceless mob, it was a highly coordinated effort. If we break down the resistance, we see three main pillars working together. First, you have the formal military, the TRI, led by A.H. Nasution, providing the macro-level military strategy. Second, you have the local youth militias, who provided fearless, direct action on the ground. And third, this is absolutely crucial, the ulama, the religious leaders. They acted as the spiritual backbone, maintaining morale, providing social solidarity, and mobilizing the masses. This event required all three working in perfect harmony. To really grasp this, we have to zoom in from the macro strategy to the micro-human level. Meet Mohammed Toha. He was part of a local militia. Just months after the initial burning of the city, the resistance continued through guerrilla warfare. On July 11, 1946, 19-year-old Toha infiltrated a heavily guarded Allied armory at Dayakolot. Realizing he was trapped and severely wounded, he made the ultimate sacrifice, detonating a grenade that blew up the armory along with himself. He was just 19 years old. It's exactly this kind of profound individual heroism that fueled the broader resistance.
Which leads us to Section 4, the evolution of Halo Halo Bandung, a song forged in fire.
The fires of Bandung didn't just destroy buildings, they literally forged a new cultural identity. Take the famous Indonesian song called Halo Halo Bandung, written by the legendary composer Ismail Marzuki. Originally, back during the Japanese occupation, it was a slow, sentimental, and nostalgic song. It was all about missing the beautiful city of Bandung and hoping to return to it one day. But after the tragic, fiery events of March 1946, Marzuki and the resistance fighters completely transformed it. It shifted from a romantic melody into a defiant, upbeat military march.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how exactly the lyrics adapted to the tragedy. In the original version on the left, the lyrics say, Lama suga beta ingin berjumpa padamu, which means, it's been a long time since I've wanted to meet you. It's pure nostalgia, right? But look at the post-1946 version on the right. They changed the ending to, Sekarang telah menjadi lautan api, mari bung rebut kembali. Now it has become a sea of fire. Let's go, friend, and take it back. They essentially weaponized a love song into an anthem of unyielding defiance.
And finally, Section 5, the birth of the Total Defense Doctrine, the legacy of total defense. You see, the legacy of the Sea of Fire goes far beyond monuments and songs. It fundamentally rewrote the textbook on Indonesian military strategy. It provided three massive takeaways for the young republic. First, it proved that urban guerrilla warfare and asymmetrical tactics could effectively stall a heavily armed modern military. Second, it demonstrated the absolute power of civilian-military synergy. The military is nothing without the people's support. And third, these very lessons laid the groundwork for Colonel A.H. Nasution's future military strategies, proving that their greatest defensive weapon was the total, uncompromising unity of the citizens. This entire experience birthed a concept known as Hangkamrata, or the Total People's Defense Doctrine. It's an asymmetric warfare strategy stating that national defense isn't just the job of guys in uniform holding rifles. It involves all elements of the nation, every citizen, every resource, every layer of society, working collectively to defend sovereignty. The unimaginable civilian sacrifice in Bandung during the Sea of Fire literally wrote the textbook for this. It was the ultimate real-world proof of concept. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a powerful thought. We don't have to burn our cities to the ground today to prove our love for our country. But in this complex modern era, what is the true meaning of defending a nation? Whether it's through our work, our art, or our civic duties. How does that unified, uncompromising fighting spirit of Hangramata, born in the flames of Bandung, continue to live on in all of us today? Think about that next time you hear that famous song or walk past those monuments. Thanks so much for joining me on this incredible journey through history. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.